The Sharks have a third period lead, and for the, I think, 13th straight time, or well, not maybe 13th straight time, but for the 13th time this season, they blow it. They freaking blow it again. I know, this shouldn't come as a surprise. Sacre bleu. There's all your French you're going to get right now on Teal Town After Dark. Fuck. Good evening. It is the last day of February 2023, and the San Jose Sharks, you love to hear that sound, don't you, folks? Lose to Montreal 3-1 in dramatic fashion. And we welcome you to this edition of Teal Town After Dark. This is your live interactive Sharks postgame. And boy, howdy do we need it. So chat with us and fellow Sharks fans all over the world in Sharks territory on the YouTube page or the app. We welcome you, Montreal fans, as well. Come on, jump on, pile on. Hey, Kings fans and Devils fans have been doing it for the last couple of days. So follow us on the social, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, SoundCloud, Reddit, Discord, TikTok. Of course, you can find everything at tealtownusa.com. And of course, you want to support the pod, Venmo us at tealtownusa, or hit us up in the super chat on YouTube. Good evening, everyone. It is Puckeye and Ian. Ian, how the hell are you?
I'm fantastic. I'm surprised people aren't sick of me at this point. TikTok always kills me too, because it's like not all of us, but most of us are just old dudes. And but TikTok. It's a thing, apparently. Welcome to the Teal Town Draft Day special. Oh, wait. No, what? It's not Draft Day. Sorry. Free Agent Day? Trade Day? No. None of those things. Mm-mm. Producers are telling me in my ear right now that the trade deadline isn't until Friday. So it is not trade deadline day, in fact. Wait. Producers are now also telling me how we have no producers. So these are just voices in my head. Even better.
You sure the trade deadline wasn't today? I mean, are you
Apparently
sure?
Not.
I mean, like, holy crap. We'll get into that a little bit later on in the program because, my goodness, everybody in then some made a move today. Man, okay, we try to be as honest and media and professional as possible, but tonight
yes,
I'm gonna
professional. Yes, that's exactly what I do.
You're usually pretty good about it. I know you joke, but
I mean, if F words per minute are a thing, then yeah, I'm pro.
Okay. Trust me.
Why are you upset? I don't understand. Why are you upset?
Dude,
I mean, look. I understand being upset because we had to sit through and watch that game so we could do this show. Because honestly,
that's one thing.
This game was not a whole lot of fun to watch. I mean, look, at the end result, I think is fantastic.
Oh, for sure.
But this game wasn't a whole lot of fun to watch. But why are you upset?
And it kind of hit me during first intermission too, when Randy said, this is the first time in Sharks history that they had to let go of a player homegrown and just entering the prime of his career. And that hit me, dude. That hit me for some reason, and I get the emotion, I think, from the Marlowe weekend also, because that kind of symbolized the end of that era. You go into a new era, or as Randy mentioned on the show, turning the page. And it's like, yeah, you can turn the page, but holy fuck, it is just it's like somebody turned the page of one of your favorite stories, and a fifth grader just scrubbed everything in there and just said Sharks suck. I mean, it got to me to the point where it started reminding me of 93. And 93 sucked more than a Dyson vacuum. I mean, it was just painful, and just to see everybody coming out. Like, here, let me put up a couple of things here, like this one from Reddit, where the guy has a Timo Meier jersey. It's the new one, and he's replaced Meier with conditional draft pick on the back of it. Like, conditional draft pick. That's what we got. And then EA Sports makes a jab saying, point of view of a franchise mode player continuing to add more players to the trade until it finally goes through, and retweeting the Sharks tweet. And then,
that's good. I like that.
I mean, it is good. I'll be honest. And then you have guys like Adam Wild, who, I love the Steve Dangle podcast, and saying, oh, for the sake of hockey and hockey fans everywhere, just trade Erik Karlsson. And
they should.
And I'm sick and tired of it. And I think, and we got the video clip here today, I think Erik Karlsson's sick and tired of it.
Erik, we're in the middle of all these rumors because you had a very, very good season.
Yeah,
would you say that it's positive?
We've asked these questions 4 times now. You picked that guy, so that's it. Yeah, it's all been going on.
Like, he's sick and tired of it. And you keep getting these mixed messages. We're not in a rebuild. We're not in a rebuild. But I don't know how long it's going to take for us to get out of this. But I don't think we're too far along. Yeah, Doug Wilson said the same fucking thing a couple of years ago. Where the fuck is the direction of this thing? Like, seriously, give me something to joy on. Like, what? Ooh, Zetterlund and Johnsson. I guess we're calling him Johnsson with the extra S in it. Come in tonight. I mean, okay. Hurdle looked like he gave a damn tonight. But as we get into this game, I mean, like, hey, great start, Shaken MacDonald. 1-0, less than 2 minutes in. You're getting creamed like 11-3 in the shots early on. Like, my God. Good job.
I mean, okay. Wow, there's a lot to unpack there.
Sorry,
look,
I went on an HA rant there.
It's fine. I mean, gosh, so much to unpack. Where to start? I mean, obviously, like, let's talk about direction. I'm with you. I don't know what the direction is. A lot of this makes me believe, a lot of like the rumors and just some of the things that they've done have made me to believe that they don't think that this is going to be an incredibly long thing, that they are looking at a 3-year turnaround from what it just appears like. And again, I don't know, this is me speculating based, because obviously Mike Grier is not going to come out and just lay all his cards on the table and be like, we're gonna suck for 5 years, and then by then we'll be good again. I think a lot of the talk, obviously from what we've heard this summer about, like, when Mike Grier was hired, right, about guys that came in, that interviewed and basically, told Hasso Plattner they had to tear this whole thing down to the bolts and start over. And Hasso wasn't having that. So my concern is that they think that they're going to be competitive in 3 years. And then I wonder what's the play if they're not. Because again, like, you look at this return for Timo Meier, and we've done so much, so many hours of content on this Timo Meier trades. But so what's a few more minutes?
Why not?
What's a few more minutes? Like, I don't love this return, right? And I don't love this return. I think it's for Timo Meier, it wasn't enough, plain and simple. I continue to be whelmed by Mike Grier. There's no moment like Mike Grier. Like, this Timo Meier trade was the trade where you really had to come out of it being like, hell yeah, that was what needed to happen here. And I don't think we got that. And I understand people are angry. I know I'm supposed to be the angry Canadian robot, and I don't have the anger for it. Yeah, it's weird, right? But here's the problem. I mean, I knew this was coming, so I've mentally prepared, because I think after, especially leading up to the Patrick Marleau weekend, like, you just felt like it was going to happen. It was like, as soon as the Marleau thing was over, this was coming. They just weren't going to upstage it. You know, the Sharks weren't going to upstage it. Yeah, this is rough. And of course my dog wakes up and says, "Hey, I want to go outside." So be angry for a minute. I will be right back.
Go take care of your dog. I'll get to the recap of this one. MacDonald, minute 43 in, gets a nice loose rebound. He had like 3 Montreal Canadiens around him to make it 1-0. Sharks would take a couple of penalties in there later on. Harris would take a penalty for Montreal. Nothing happens there. In the second period, not much as well here. You know, Anderson gets a reffing call because Svechnikov went for a loose puck. They called him for slashing. You know, Asim takes a slashing call. Sharks, like I said, they were outshot 11-3 to Montreal, made it 1-0. Then were outshooting them, you know, later in the second period. The Sharks played a fairly dominant game in my mind and looked pretty promising going into the third. And that's where it happened. You know, that's where everything went to crap. Gooley would make it 1-1 on his shot. And then nearly 2 minutes later, Yolonen gets a 2-on-1 with Pitlick. They go back and forth. They score. Erik Karlsson misses the puck, trying to catch it with his glove to get it, and then it leads to a 2-on-1. The Yolonen gets it. That turns out to be the game-winning goal. Dvorak would add an empty netter. The Sharks peak a power play once again. You know, who needs a leading goal scorer on the team? You know, who needs a leading goal scorer? You know, it's not like what I mean. I don't know who our leading goal scorer is right now. Is it Couture? Is it Hurdle? I think it's Couture, because Hurdle hasn't done shit on a man net, and I think he's got 2 goals in like 23 games, and his most recent goal was an empty netter.
Where did we go? What are we talking about?
Oh, I literally just went through the entire game.
Great, because
I mean,
I just slept through it.
I mean, but there really wasn't anything much. I'll do it again. MacDonald makes it 1-0. There's penalty fest. Sharks were outshot.
I don't want to relive this game. Like, why are you doing this to me? I don't want to relive this game. This game was the worst game of hockey I ever watched. Let's go back to this. Let's breathe, my friend. Let's go back to this Timo Meier trade for a second before I was so rudely interrupted by my idiotic dog.
I thought I was the only idiot on the show.
No, my dog's an idiot too sometimes.
Anyways,
okay. So here's the problems that I have here, right? One, like the fact that like Mike Grier coming out and saying, look at. I understand that people are like, oh well, it's Doug Wilson's fault that they had to trade Timo Meier. I think that's partially true, but I mean, if you look at all the players that Mike Grier brought in after trading Brent Burns, there's your fucking Timo Meier money. Right?
Right.
So I don't know, man. Look at this. This team has to take a step back. Like, I understand your frustration. I get it.
A step back. That's
damn sure. But the problem is has it taken steps back far enough? Not really. Like, they basically spun their wheels for 3 years, just, you know, rolling out the same thing and, you know, around the edges kind of fixing things. It sucks. I mean, look at the check was going to come due at some point. No team reigns forever. Everyone has to reset, rebuild, whatever the hell you want to call it. Like, everyone goes through this after a stretch of success, because eventually if you mortgage the future long enough, there's no future. And that's where the Sharks are at now. The Sharks have a couple of good prospects. But, you know, me and Kevin last night, we did a show and we were talking about the blue line. on the Barracuda, and I don't know if we said, other than Artemi Knizhov, I don't know if we said if there's any guy there that we're like, well, is there an NHL player there? And is Knizhov in the plans going forward? I don't know, because again, new regime, so it's hard to say what. And I think that's the frustrating thing, right? Because with a new regime, everything we think we know about the team, we really don't, because we don't know who the new Golden Boys are. We don't know a guy like Knizhov. If you don't have a complete regime change, you go like, okay, yeah, he gets back up to speed, and maybe he gets back in the NHL. I don't think that's a given at this point.
No. I meant to hit up a super chat from Denver Doyle, $4.99 super chat. Of course, super chats go help support the show and pay for the lights around here. What we're experiencing is what Pittsburgh, Chicago did before Crosby and Kane, and I'll paraphrase on Taves. If this crappy year leads to Bedard, it'll be worth it. Yeah, of course it'll be worth it.
Or even Fantilli. Like there's some really good players. Like obviously Bedard's like the crown jewel, but like I don't think people should be up. Like I think if you're picking in the top 5 in this draft, even higher than the top 5, but if you finish in the top 5 in drafting positions, you're going to get a good player. I understand Connor Bedard is the player. I understand that maybe if you look at drafts like, if you look at similar drafts where it's like obviously like there's the big prize, like you look at the McDavid draft, for example. I don't think getting Jack Eichel in that deal is a bad thing, right?
Yeah.
Like I understand that like Bedard would be franchise altering, but there's some really good players that aren't Connor Bedard in this draft that would also help this team going forward significantly.
Absolutely. I completely agree in here. And Laurel, yes, there are some good questions in here. We're going to get into some of it here. Like Big Bird saying, why sign Hurl at 29 and not Timo at 26?
Different regimes, right?
Yeah,
again, it goes back to what, and this is kind of something that I said, like, I was kind of annoyed that the Sharks signed Hurdle, and then before, they had to do something with Hurdle, but you make that move and then you change and then bring in a new regime. Like, I don't know. That's going to be one of the many questions, is like, if Mike Grier comes in before that, does Mike Grier extend Hurdle?
Right. And
because again, extending Hurdle, like, it just shows you how the values and how you value different players and how that goes out the window when you bring in a new regime.
Yeah. Weird Blue kind of similar, what do you think of Grier thought of Joe Will signing Hurdle's contract before he got hired? I mean,
I would love to know the answer to that.
Right, that would be great. Broaden Smith, love the podcast, y'all. $4.99 super chat, by the way.
Thank you.
Love the podcast, y'all are the best. Appreciate it. Thoughts on the trade that happened today? Might have missed it. Grier seems to be loading up on D, which is kind of opposite of what they did in the 2020 draft when they went all forwards.
Right. So this is why I think this is a shorter plan, right? Because for those that don't know, Henry Thrun, I believe is his name. Henry Thrun was basically the Sharks traded a 2024 third round pick to the Anaheim Ducks for the rights to, or for the basically the signing rights to Harvard defenseman, 21-year-old Harvard defenseman Henry Thrun, who currently plays for Harvard. He basically indicated to the Ducks that he had no interest in signing there. And if you don't know, college players are a little bit different than junior players or European players. If a player goes to college and gets drafted by a team and doesn't turn pro, stays in college for all 4 years, as Henry Thrun has done it at Harvard, if that player doesn't sign with his team after his senior year, they can become a unrestricted free agent on August 15th of the summer after the college player played their final senior year. So he indicated to the Ducks that he didn't want to sign them. Now, once you do sign them, then they become restricted free agents after that. But in this situation, it's a weird quirk with the college system. I like this move for the Sharks. I think, look at a 2024, third round pick. When you think about that, you're going to draft a guy. Best case scenario, the player that you drafted with that pick is 2, maybe 3 years out, if not more. It's a third round pick, so probably more years out. So I like this pick. I think, Scott Wheeler, who writes for The Athletic, seems pretty high on Thrun. A lot of other stuff I read, people seem to like him. I'm curious to see what he does. Again, once he's finished playing at Harvard this season, he's a guy that could come in and, either sign an ATO and play a couple of games for maybe play a couple of games for the Barracuda down their stretch run. So I'm curious to see what they do there, but I like the move. It's a pretty low risk move because, again, it's a third round pick. People super overvalue picks that aren't first rounders, in my opinion. And I've seen some people kind of freaking out like, oh no, it's a third round pick. Like, yeah, it's a third round pick. If you want to have your mind blown, go look up the Sharks draft history and look at all their amazing third round picks. Which is why I'm not worried about this.
Well, more than anything, I mean, it's one thing we've talked about their drafting. It's about them drafting defensemen. AJ's gone on ad nauseum with it on Pucknologist about it. Going from Vlasic to Ferraro, how many, hits have they made? And it's tough. But Anaheim's prospect system, there was a little bit there with Thrun before. Now there's a lot, and they kind of had to make a move.
Yeah, I mean, look at and also, I mean, again, this is a player who has already indicated that he will not sign anything. So if the Ducks didn't move him, they would just walk him to free agency on the on the 14th or 15th of August. I like this move for the Sharks because, again, you're picking up a guy. The Sharks' defensive prospects. It's pretty lacking. The Barracuda, again, now injuries definitely played a role here, but like the Barracuda played a good chunk of the season with 3 guys on professional tryouts. That's half their blue line. Like, if you want to understand why the Barracuda are where they are, there's other reasons to it. I'm not going to completely just lay it out on poor guys like Brady and Rydell and whatever, but it's been a problem for them, right? And there's not exactly a ton of help coming up. Like, you got Gannon Larocque, who could turn pro next year. I'm excited to see what he does in our prospect pool. But this is something where the Sharks generally lacked. And again, like I said, if you draft a guy this year, well, that's great. You drafted some defensemen this year. Those guys are 2 to 3 years before they can even turn pro, before they can even set foot on the Barracuda in some places, depending on where they're coming from, right? So, it's hard. It's really hard to get. It's hard to refill that quickly. And the Sharks / Barracuda kind of need that help now, which is why there's been an emphasis on trying to pick up defensive prospects. That's why they picked up, MacDonald in the Timo Meier trade. That's why they made this move today to get Henry Thrun. They're trying to address a massive organizational hole in their lineup. Now, again, are you taking, does it concern me? Like, I like MacDonald. I think he's an interesting prospect. But again, but do I think if he's the centerpiece of that trade, is that enough for Timo Meier? No, it's not. Mm-mm. And that's why it makes me concerned that, instead of taking, more guaranteed first round picks based on some of and again, all we have is speculation. We're not insiders. We've never professed to be insiders. No. We just read the same shit you do and try to make decent YouTube comment out of it. Right. Yeah. They just make decent YouTube content out of it. And go ahead.
I was going to say, I assume you're referencing what Elliot Freeman said on 32 Thoughts, that, there was an offer from St. Louis to give up 2 first-round picks to the Sharks for Timo Meier. And it's a crapshoot.
Yeah, it's an absolute crapshoot. It's an absolute crapshoot. And it's even more of a crapshoot because those picks are, the conditions on those picks are pretty are pretty intense when you consider how much of a absolute bloodbath the Eastern Conference playoffs are going to be.
And you basically are rooting for the Devils to at least get to round 3.
Right. And that, look at, do I like what the Devils have done? Absolutely. Is that going to be an easy feat in the East? No, man. Like, there's going to be some, the Eastern Conference playoffs, there's going to be some really good teams that are watching the second round from home.
I mean, how it plays out, it's the Devils have to get past New York, the Rangers in round 1, most likely have to get past Carolina in round 2.
Yeah.
I don't think it's impossible, but
I want to hit something in the chat really quick before I forget. So I see Denver Doyle bring up Havlid in the chat as far as defensive prospects. Yeah, I like Havlid a lot, but here's the problem with Havlid. I think it was last year the transfer agreement between the NHL and the SHL had changed, and if you cannot bring over a Swedish player, you cannot bring over a player from the SHL to play on your farm team. Like it's Sharks or bust under the age of 24. So until Matthias Havlid is 24, you can't bring him over and then just stuff him in the minors. That's for any pick that's not a first rounder. So that's something to keep in mind too when it comes to Havlid.
Gotcha. Bird 7F91, sorry for the late super chat, $15 super chat donation. Thank you so much.
Yes, thank you.
15 years ago versus Montreal, almost to the day where I got into hockey when I watched the Brian Campbell spinorama goal on Carey Price in person. Only time I've ever had my jaw drop in a sports event. Yeah, that was pretty memorable.
Yeah.
And you know what else was memorable? He signed with the Blackhawks and won a cup. But I digress. Because, of course, he fucking won a cup. Of course.
Yeah, but you know what? We got Dan Boyle, so.
Yeah, did he win a cup with the Sharks? No, he didn't.
No, but
win a cup with the Sharks.
That Chicago team was so fucking stacked, though, because you had Kane and Tays on entry-level deals. Like, that team was stupid.
And I think that's the thing that's kind of bothering me. Sorry to digress off of this.
That's fine.
That I think this would be a lot better if not only was there a Marleau banner up there, eventually there's going to be a Thornton banner, but if there was a Stanley Cup banner, I think this would be a lot easier to handle with it,
Oh, for sure. Winning fixes everything, as I've said 100 times on the show. Winning fixes everything. Yeah, look, I mean, again, I've always said this. Yes, does it suck that the Sharks didn't win a cup? Of course it fucking sucks. That's why you play the games. But at the same time, like, you could be super negative and just like, and you can just hang your hat on that and be like, well, they never won, so what the fuck was any of it worth? And that's fine. I get that. Look, you do you. However, it was always a lot more fun to cheer for a team where I said, hey, they could win the shiny silver thing. They're not guaranteed. Nothing's guaranteed in life, but they could win the shiny silver thing.
Yeah.
I like that way better than starting the season being like, oh, fuck, we're done. We're on show number 2 and we're going to have to talk about the fucking draft.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, we kind of figured that going into this season, sadly. My God. To kind of go back into the game here, we're getting some comments. Thanks to AJ. Quinn says Eyssimont was benched because of bad penalties he took in the second period. Too many bad penalties. Eyssimont is tied for second in the NHL with 12 minor penalties since he joined the Sharks on January 10th. He's also drawn 8 minors, so his penalty differential isn't awful.
Sure. Look at... Again, this is something that I was when Eyssimont first came over and he was playing on the fucking first and second line, this is exactly why I kind of just rolled my eyes at it. Rolled my eyes at it all those weeks ago.
It's that disgusting you had to burp about.
Yeah, it's terrible. I apologize for that.
No, you're good. You're good, man. It happens.
You know what I mean? Like, this is why I rolled. I'm like, yeah, I like him, but like... this is what he is, he was a guy that was going to skate way up in the lineup. And then, yeah.
Jerry F with the $5 super chat.
Yes.
Thanks for being a place to vent, especially after the Timo trade and the seemingly endless third period implosions. At least we are closer to Bedard. Yes, they are the 4th worst team in the NHL, but
hey, that's getting tight. Like
but
that.
they're only 2 points out of being
Right.
dead last.
Yeah.
Yay!
Hey, man, it is what it is.
Yay for a 17% chance at Connor Bedard. Dear Lord. Okay.
Look at someone wins the lottery, man.
Yeah.
Someone wins it every year.
Yeah. I just hope the Oilers make the playoffs. That's all I'm saying. They haven't won in a while either, do.
Yeah.
Oh, God. Thank you all for your donations.
Yes, appreciate your donations.
Yeah.
Again, I'm trying not to. I look at. Just because I'm not like, just because I'm not screaming out loud here and maybe a little less emotional than Puck Guy right now. Like I don't like this Timo Meier trade. But I understand it's a business. Like Timo Meier is my favorite player, man. My favorite fucking player on this team. Gone. Now I got to find another reason to watch. Like, it sucks. It sucks, and I don't think it's going to get any better because I don't know. I mean, maybe now look at Edmonton made a deal today to get Matthias Ekholm, so obviously that would take them out of the Erik Karlsson sweepstakes in the offseason. But you know what? I still think though, like, I think eventually they're probably going to try and get out from under that contract. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, at the end of the day, you still have to find a place he wants to go. And I think that's going to be absolutely fascinating in the offseason. So
I completely agree. I mean, could you imagine the return to Ottawa?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, especially with new ownership.
I'd love to watch the Sharks lose that trade twice. Love it.
I mean, just to have, all of Canada laugh is again at the Sharks, just like they're laughing right now.
Are they though? I don't think they care.
Yeah.
You don't. I don't think
there's people hoping that they trade Erik Karlsson to fucking Edmonton because fucking Canada hasn't won a cup in 31 years. I mean, for fuck's sake. And then you have Kings fans. Oh, well, look at them implode. Yeah, it's like, go fuck off. Like, seriously. Like,
I don't
give us a reason for direction. I don't
you
care
need
if
to
you want
turn
to
Twitter off for a few days. I think, man.
Fuck.
You just need to get off social media for a couple of days. I promise you, as a Canadian, as someone who lives up here, no one gives a shit about the Sharks up here. Most of the time they forget we exist.
They're like the Bay Area media. They don't give a shit about the Sharks either. But tonight, get ready to hear about Steph Curry recovering. He took a dribble today in Santa Cruz. It's like, fuck off. Give us a fucking update. Follow all the other teams. Hell, freaking the Earthquakes get more love than the San Jose Sharks up here. And I'm not talking about the ones that shake the ground. I'm talking one that plays soccer.
I don't know, man.
One thing you guys did mention, it was kind of in our group chat.
Mm-hmm.
As I try to calm down, I think it was on the Pucknologist or I forget.
Yeah, it was on the Pucknologist.
They said that the person that scored first in this game will probably be traded tomorrow. And AJ mentioning MacDonald scored, so he'll be traded tomorrow if he hasn't been moved already. I mean, he has made himself look good. Maybe you can get a 4th round pick for him at this. It's crazy. Do you want to hit the one trade that's about to go down? Or I guess it's finalized.
I don't know if it's finalized. I try not to watch Twitter when I'm doing the show because I have the attention span of a fruit fly. So let me open Twitter here and just see if I see anything done.
If it's the case, Jonathan Quick has been traded to the Columbus Blue Jackets with a 1st round pick for Korpisalo and Gavrikov.
That's what they're saying. I don't know if it's a done deal. I haven't seen an official
I mean, that's just crazy. While you do that, I'm gonna go look in the chat here. That Ricky, you mentioned that before. Puck Guy, lay off the Red Bull before the show, bro. I don't do Red Bull. I got to be at work in about 5 hours, so I really can't do Just that. But hey, Chivo, good to see you. But
yeah, I don't know. The Kings haven't tweeted anything about it yet, so I don't
gotcha.
know. But it sounds like Quick. Sounds like Quick is heading to Columbus. I'm curious to see what this whole trade is going to look like. Korpisalo and what was it, Gavrikov?
Gavrikov.
Man, I don't know. I don't know what the Kings are doing here, man. I don't think that highly of Korpisalo. I don't really think this addresses anything for them. Like, I don't think it really shores up. Maybe I'll be wrong, and they'll win a bunch of rounds. But to me, I mean, obviously the asking price for Chekrin and Vejmelka is probably too much for their blood, but I don't know if I like Korpisalo for them either.
Yeah, this just... And what a crazy game the LA Kings had tonight. I mean, Kopitar scored 4 goals in that one.
Yeah. No official trade call yet, though. So we don't know the full deal yet, so we'll wait. But obviously, like, looks like it's basically finalized. We just don't know what the full trade is yet. It's one of those things. So I don't want to comment. But I don't. Do I like this trade for the Kings? No, not just because I'm a Sharks fan and fuck LA, but I don't think when you look at what their problem is, I don't know how. Is he having a bounce back season? Maybe, but I don't know, man. I don't like it.
No trust in Phoenix Copley, or for that matter, Cal Peterson.
Cal Peterson's been in the they're just. I don't think they're a particularly good defensive team, and I don't think that. I don't know if there's a goalie out there that would really address it. Like, if I was the LA Kings, and I don't know, it's probably a complicated trade where I don't know if it could happen. But if I'm LA and I see what Vancouver's doing, and maybe they did, I would be calling about Thatcher Demko.
Agreed.
Like, that would be like, I think if you're going to give up a bunch of assets, like, Thatcher Demko's the guy you do it for. If Vancouver's dumb enough to move him, which I don't know to be true, or don't think to be true, but if I'm LA, that's what I would do, because I think that would set them in goal for quite a while. And then, with how this team has continued to steadily improve under Rob Blake's stewardship, like, that would be probably what I would have done.
It's just very interesting because we had heard the whole time, Chikrin, maybe Vejmelka, going to LA from the Coyotes.
Yeah, I'd like to see Vejmelka get the hell out of Arizona, because I think Vejmelka is a really good goalie, but my concern with Vejmelka is like, remember Thomas Vokoun?
Yes.
Remember how good Thomas Vokoun was on just an absolute ass Florida team, and then by the time he finally got out of there, he was washed because he was facing 100 million shots a night.
Right.
That's my concern for Karel Vejmelka.
It'll be interesting to see these next few days. I mean, I don't know what's left. I mean, these GMs have decided to go off and such early. I mean, I guess they really want to see James Duthie do another music video on Trade Center on Friday. So.
Oh, it's going to be boring as fuck.
Poor Bob McKenzie. He's like, what the hell did I come out of the cottage for?
I mean, like, you know what though? I will stand here and eat crow though, because I didn't think this trade deadline was going to be anything.
Nothing. Yeah, seriously.
And it has been, like, the number of big players that have moved. I mean, I definitely pegged this thing wrong, and I will come on the show and eat crow about that now for sure, because it was definitely something where I was talking about how lame this trade deadline was going to be, and it has been, actually, given all the cap constraint and all the doom and gloom about going forward. It's been a pretty good trade deadline as far as trade deadlines go. This has been fun. Like, you have teams like that obviously have done a bunch. Like, I think I don't know if Toronto's done or not. And there's obviously a few other teams. I don't know if they do though. I don't think Reimer goes anywhere. I think Reimer's still here after the trade deadline. Because I don't see a lot of teams out there that super need a depth goalie. And if you do, Cam Talbot's right there, and that pains me to say as not a Cam Talbot guy and a guy who loves Reimer. But if you've watched, like, Reimer hasn't been great this season. I don't think Cam Talbot's been particularly good either, but he's right there.
Yeah, I mean, I could think of maybe Seattle trying to upgrade their depth for goaltender, but they have Chris Drieger coming back, who played well against the Barracuda last night. I mean, it's tough.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I mean, I think Barabano is probably the biggest one right now that can get a haul. I mean, I know Hockey Jerk's on a big tangent about getting Kevin LeBanc a big haul. By the way, congrats to the LeBancs. They had a little one earlier today. They spelled his name wrong, Erik with a C. So congrats to LeBanc on the family. How dare you? Erik Karlsson's pissed about that. That's probably why he was originally pissed earlier tonight.
Yeah, like, I know Drieger's, like, again, I don't know. Seattle to me again is, but Seattle to me is the LA Kings last year. This is found money. I don't think you have to go and I don't think they would be smart to just go out and spend assets to go on a run. Like, I think anything they do this year is going to be fine. It's house money. They will be fine. And then, as more of their prospects start coming in, then maybe you want to start looking. But I think if you're Seattle this year, do you give up a bunch of assets for James Reimer or Cam Talbot? I don't know.
It's interesting to see, and it'll be an interesting last 3 days. I mean, it's really going to be interesting how it's going to go down, because I don't. And the East is just all bolstering up, and it's hilarious. And I can't believe. I'll laugh when a Western Conference team wins the Cup this year.
Well, they might. I mean, look at, like, I think the East is going to be a bloodbath, and I look at, as if the Sharks are in the playoffs, I don't really care who wins. I think the East is going to be a bloodbath, but yeah, I could see a situation where after somebody crawls out of the East, bleeding all over the place, that they run into a team like Colorado, for example, and Yitzer. Okay, so in the chat here, a couple things. I can't see.
Where are you going?
Oakchuk. He hasn't played yet. No, he has not played for the Barracuda yet. He is there. I guess he has a minor injury. He's expected to. I don't even think he's in San Jose yet. I think he's expected to get there, I think, the end of the week or something, if I recall correctly. He hasn't played yet. I will let you know when he does. And then Anthony Gonzalez asking, is it certain that Johnsson and Zetterlund are better than Jonathan Dahlen? Is Greer too in love with the same type of player? I don't know. This tonight was a hard game to watch. I'm not gonna lie. The one thing that I think is a dangerous thing to do, right? You can be upset about the return for Timo Meier, but I'm not gonna take it out on these guys. But I haven't watched enough of them to kind of give you an opinion. Like, Johnsson's he's a hand. He's a guy. Zetterlund, I want to watch more of to kind of give my own example of, and try to have that not be tainted by my, by the fact that Timo Meier is no longer a Shark. So, are they better than Jonathan Dahlen? I mean, they're in the NHL, so that's something.
Ouch. You're not wrong there. That's for darn sure. So.
Oh, Jack. There we go. Yes, I will get it eventually.
Yuck. Yeah. Yuck like coral yuck. Got it. Yeah, I mean, and seeing a lot of it, Bonino will be traded. I mean, I would think that's probably going to be.
Nick Bonino is the kind of guy that someone will add at the deadline, because NHL GMs are NHL GMs.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. Will LeBanc go anywhere? Will I mean. Jeez. Garage 42. What's going to happen to Shark Tank attendance next year? Going to field Sharky and the fourth liner guy squad?
I mean, I don't know. I think attendance is probably gonna stay where. I mean, I'm sure there's some people that might be like, now that the Sharks have done things like they've traded Timo Meier, where maybe people are going to be like, no, this team obviously has no interest in winning, and I'm not going to spend my money until they do. If you thought the Sharks had any interest in winning the last 3 years, though, I have questions. But I will never tell you how to spend your money on this show. If you are a Sharks season ticket holder and you want to keep being one, I'm not. Fuck, who the hell am I to tell you not to? I'm gonna watch all, 82 games and come on YouTube and talk about it after, and do whatever else it is I do. So I everyone has hobbies. I think. Is it going to take a hit? Yeah, of course it is. I mean, again, the Sharks, obviously there's pain ahead. This isn't going to be, there's so much pain ahead. And some people are obviously maybe don't want to spend their discretionary income on that. And like I said, who the fuck am I to tell you how to spend your money?
Well, true. I mean, I'll do with whatever I want to do with my money, although I don't get a whole lot. But yeah, I'm a Shark Pack holder. I'm a 11 game Shark Pack holder. This is tough, And then you see this breakaway pass where you can go to 9 games for $89, and you're like, what the hell am I doing paying almost $1,000 for 11 games?
Yeah.
It's crazy. And it's tough.
Yeah, there's pain ahead, man. This is going to get at least, I don't know, man. I believe we've managed to do these shows for the last little bit. I mean, the Sharks haven't been good for a while, let's be honest, and we've managed to do these shows. But I think especially if Erik Karlsson's moved this summer,
right?
This is going to be a fascinating team to watch next year. And it's going to be, I think sometimes it's going to be a challenge to get up for these. I'm not going to lie.
I mean, if Karlsson is moved and Greer's going to spend money like he did with the Burns money that he has, it better be smart.
With what money? They're going to have to retain $1 bajillion.
Right. But if you were to retain 50%, that's like $5.75 million.
Yeah.
Don't be going out there finding everybody that's from Boston, UMass, Harvard that plays gritty sandpaper. I mean, you have enough of that. But what's the biggest thing that's happening here? You need scoring. You just traded your fucking top scorer.
But and you're down to win later. I don't know why you're upset about this. And
no, but what I'm saying is that if you're so obsessed about, not you, but if management's so obsessed about grit, how many gritty players do you need? You need some of them to score. You need someone to put it back in the net. Hell, I mean, granted, it was nice to see some shot blocking from Hurdle and Couture tonight.
Mm-hmm.
Hashtag Hurdle for Vezina. But it's like, oh my gosh. It'd be nice to see somebody put it in the back of the net besides Jacob MacDonald.
Yeah, I mean, but here's the thing, right? I think here's the thing that everyone has to remember too. Name me a Stanley Cup champion, a recent Stanley Cup champion, who didn't have a player drafted in the top 10 on their team. I'll wait.
Excuse me while I Google that really quick.
You won't find one. You will not find one. Like that's the thing, right? Like obviously it's going to suck right now. It's absolutely going to suck. But like, and look at, and obviously we've seen teams that have tanked and don't have a whole lot to show for it. So I understand that too. But at the same time, like, those are facts, man. Like, go find me the team that won the Stanley Cup recently that didn't have a top 10 pick on the team.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, if the concern obviously here is, and I understand this concern for people, is that, Mike Grier sees a set a 3-year plan, and then what if that 3-year plan doesn't work? Does he get to try and fix the 3-year plan, or does he? Okay, maybe the Blues. Although, when did Tarasenko get drafted?
Dana's looking it up right now. So Dana, I appreciate you, my dear friend. Thank you.
There you go. Peter, Petro though. That's right. But here's the thing, right? Like the concern is that if this plan doesn't work out, does he get to try and fix it, or does someone else come in? And then do you end up in a situation like Buffalo, Ottawa? Well, Arizona is not a real team. They're just a fucking money laundering operation.
I'll go outside of hockey, and I think the current concern is you don't want to end up like the Oakland A's, where you're developing players.
Correct.
And then next thing you know,
yeah, you don't want to be a money laundering operation like the Coyotes, or you don't want to be a team that just that basically is just in a perpetual tomorrow team. Like obviously those are the dangers.
Yeah. And that's the thing. Is that what changes with this move? That's the concern of it. And you just don't want to get too down that rabbit hole. So we'll see. I'm sorry. I know we've been all over the place with all this, and I know my emotions have gotten the best of me. But it's just frustrating. It's just frustrating, and you can't look at this trade right now. It's tough not to look down later in a few years. You look at it now, and it's like you kind of just have to trust the process of it.
Yeah, and I don't know if I do. So I understand that. Like I don't know if I do trust the process, but I have no control over the process. So right. Something I've said a lot this year, and I think I said a lot last year too. I don't cover the team I want. I cover the team that is.
Right. And it is what it is right now.
Yeah.
So, if you're just joining us, the Sharks lost 3-1 to the Montreal Canadiens. Montreal used to be a guaranteed loss at home in San Jose's home. But now they've won 2 in a row, which, is frustrating as it is. I will mention this one tidbit that Curtis Bishelka did put in on Twitter before the game. Hertl signed a new deal on March 16th of last year. Yep. The next night, the Sharks played the Kings. 8 players who played in the game tonight are left when Hertl signed that deal.
But it's not a rebuild. It's not a rebuild. It's not a rebuild.
Well, then I guess we're making a late push for the playoffs then. All right. In case you missed anything or you want to watch this again, check us out on tealtownusa.com or your favorite podcatcher, whether it's Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, YouTube, SoundCloud, Spotify, TuneIn, iHeartRadio, Odyssey. Of course, always available at tealtownusa.com. And, of course, if you are watching on the replay, please hit that like, subscribe, and notification bells. That lets you know when we are on next. And, of course, leave a comment down below. Was I out of line tonight? Were the Sharks not good enough tonight?
Am I not angry enough?
Is Ian not angry enough? Will the Sharks ever score more goals? Will Hurdle ever score a goal again? Well, remains to be seen. Rob, $5 super chat donation. The rebuild will be as successful as Hasso's willingness to accept reality.
Yeah. So obviously, I've seen a lot on Hasso Plattner of late, and Hasso's a guy who's generally gotten a pass from me because he's let the hockey people make the decisions, and he's paid the bills. Like I don't think that Timo being gone comes from a desire of Hasso Plattner not wanting to spend money.
No, I
right.
think, I mean, they've always give them kudos. It's almost like too obvious that you're giving kudos to spending to the cap.
However, if we are on this current path of 3 years or bust because Hasso Plattner said so, like that, because that's his edict, then yeah, I think he deserves to justifiably start catching some shit here.
Yeah. Yeah. So we'll see how it goes. Again, we're in the right now. It will eventually play itself out and be better.
So
I hope.
I have a few final thoughts here.
Go for it, dude.
One, if you are not a subscriber, please consider hitting a subscriber. I think we're like 10 subscribers away from 3,000.
Yes.
Which is pretty cool.
Pretty amazing,
considering
actually.
where we started. Yeah. Also, if you want to listen to something about the Barracuda, me and Kevin came on yesterday after the Barracudas lost to Coachella, and I think we talked for like an hour and 20 minutes, which was way more than I think we intended to, where we talked about the game a little bit, but more about obviously like where we see the Barracuda right now as far as current players and reasons why we think they will make the playoffs in the Pacific Division in the AHL or not make the playoffs. I thought it was a pretty fun chat. So if you missed that and you are interested in the Barracuda at all, I understand it's kind of a niche thing in a niche, but if that's your jam, please go and check it out.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, the future is in the Barracuda, among other places right now. So, I mean, it's a great video to check out. I was listening to it last night. You guys are doing a heck of a job covering it, and appreciate jumping on. I didn't know you guys were going to do it, so
we didn't know it. Like it was like, so here's what happened, right? So it was like I think we're about halfway through the third period, and I go to Kevin. I'm like, hey, if the Barracuda win, do you want to do a show? He's like, yeah. And then of course Coachella does it. I'm like, if they lose, do you want to do a show? If they lose, do you want to do a show? And he's like, yeah. Like, so we did it up, and it's something I wish we could have done more this season. And we'll definitely, if the Barracuda do make the playoffs, as long as they are in, we will do a post game. So look forward to that.
Yeah. All right. Well, he's at Ian Blogs Hockey on the Twitter machine. I'm at PuckGuy14 on the Twitter and the Instagram. We'll be back with you on Thursday and I believe it's Landy and Dana. As the Sharks
if you're sick of me, it's fine. I will not be on a show.
Ian
It'll be good.
Needs a day off. That's for damn sure. And he deserves one for that. So the Sharks will take on, oh, look, they're playing the Blues. Oh, that's great. Oh, yay. All right.
Rack them up. Lose them.
Boy.
Let's go.
Can't wait for Robert Thomas to score the game-winning goal. I think he gets an assist from Jordan Kyrou, but I digress. Oh, can't wait for the Blues fans to jump on us. Yeah. So, Sharks Blues Thursday night. We'll be back with you then. Check out all our content, including the most recent Barracuda After Dark, presented by Teal Tinted Glasses.
I'm voting yes to this poll. Are we sick of Ian? I am. Super sick of Ian. I'm super sick of Ian.
Really?
Yeah, I hate that guy.
Really? Somebody put a poll up like that? Well,
yep.
AJ must be bored. I don't know. He was talking
I'm
about...
super sick of Ian.
I'm guessing the talk about Pepsi went by the wayside. So, all right. Well, for Ian, I'm Eric. Thanks for watching, and until next time, keep it real, keep it teal, keep it real, teal. Oh dear God, please not a Bennington shutout on Thursday, dear Lord. Good night, everyone.